So let's dive into something really profound here, something that can truly change your life in a very short period of time. We're talking about a technique that takes just 5 minutes of your day, and this is the important part. If you do it correctly, with intention and focus, it can manifest what you desire within 24 hours. Yes, you heard that right, 24 hours. Now, I know that sounds incredible, maybe even a bit too good to be true, but bear with me as I explain why this works and how you can do it yourself. First, let's understand the foundational principle behind this. Everything in your life, from the smallest event to the largest, is a result of the thoughts and emotions you consistently hold. You see, thoughts are the language of the brain, and feelings are the language of the body. Together, they create your state of being. And this state of being is constantly broadcasting an electromagnetic signature into the quantum field. The quantum field is this vast, infinite intelligence that responds to the energy you put out. So, if your thoughts and feelings are aligned with the reality you want to create, that reality must come to you. It's a universal law. Now here's the problem. Most people spend the majority of their time in a state of being that is completely misaligned with what they want to create. They wake up in the morning and immediately start thinking about their problems. Each problem is associated with a memory, and each memory has an emotion attached to it, usually a negative one like stress, worry, or anxiety. By the time they get out of bed, they're already living in the past, recreating the same emotional experiences they've had for years. This is why change can seem so difficult, because people are thinking the same thoughts, feeling the same feelings, and doing the same things every single day. This keeps them stuck in a loop of predictability where the future looks a lot like the past. But here's the good news. You can break out of this loop, and you can do it quickly. The technique I'm about to share with you is designed to disrupt this cycle. It's about taking 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, to consciously create a new state of being that is aligned with what you want to manifest. This technique works because it helps you to think greater than how you feel, to transcend the habitual emotions that have been holding you back. The first thing you need to do is to get centered. Find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. Sit comfortably and close your eyes. Now take a few deep breaths, in through the nose, out through the mouth. As you breathe, let go of any tension in your body. Feel your shoulders drop, your face relax, and your mind become calm. You want to get to a place where your thoughts are slowing down, where you're not thinking about your to-do list or any other distractions. Just focus on your breath. This step is crucial because it brings you into the present moment. The present moment is where all possibilities exist. When you're fully present, you're not anchored to the past or worried about the future. You're in the now, and in the now, you have access to the quantum field. Once you're feeling calm and centered, the next important step is to set a clear intention. This means deciding exactly what you want to manifest within the next 24 hours. It's essential to be specific about what you want. The clearer you are, the easier it is for the universe to respond. Whether you're hoping for a new opportunity to come your way, a solution to a problem that's been on your mind, or even something as simple as a sign that you're on the right path, it's crucial to know exactly what you're asking for. Take a moment to think deeply about your intention. What is it that you truly want? The more specific you can be, the better. For example, if you want a new opportunity, think about what kind of opportunity it is. Is it related to your career, relationships, or personal growth? If you're looking for a solution to a problem, what kind of solution do you need? The clearer you are about your intention, the more focused your energy will be. Now, as you think about your intention, start to visualize it in your mind's eye. This means creating a mental picture of your desire as if it has already happened. Visualization is a powerful tool because it helps you connect with the feeling of having what you want. For example, if your intention is to manifest a new opportunity, imagine yourself receiving that exciting phone call or email with the news you've been hoping for. See yourself smiling, feeling excited and grateful because this opportunity has come your way. If your intention is to find a solution to a problem, visualize yourself feeling relieved and happy because the solution has already arrived. Picture the problem being resolved and see yourself moving forward with confidence and ease. The more vivid and detailed you can make this mental image, the more real it will feel to you. And when it feels real in your mind, you're sending a strong message to the universe that this is what you want. But here's the key. It's not enough to just think about it. You have to feel it. The thought sends the signal out, but the feeling draws the experience back to you. So as you visualize your intention, bring in the emotion of how it will feel when this manifestation happens. Will you feel joy, relief, gratitude? Let yourself fully experience those emotions as if what you want has already come to pass. Now here's where the magic really happens. You need to elevate your emotional state to match the frequency of your desired outcome. Remember, emotions are energy in motion, and the universe responds to your energy. The higher your emotional state, the more magnetic you become to what you want. So, take a moment to feel gratitude. Gratitude is one of the highest vibrational emotions you can experience, and it signals to the universe that you've already received what you desire. Even if you don't have it yet, feel grateful as if you do. This creates a powerful magnetic field around you that will start to draw your intention into your life. Let's say you want to manifest a new job opportunity. Imagine receiving the call that you got the job and then feel the gratitude and excitement that comes with it. Let that feeling fill your entire being. The more you can feel it, the more real it becomes in the quantum field. Once you've raised your emotional state to a place of deep gratitude, the next crucial step is to let go. This might seem a bit strange at first because you've just spent time setting your intention, visualizing what you want, and feeling those powerful emotions. So why would you need to let go? But this step is essential. When you let go, you're showing trust in the process, trust in the universe, and trust in the work you've already done. Letting go doesn't mean giving up on what you want. It's not about forgetting your goals or no longer caring about them. Instead, it means releasing the need to control every detail of how and when your desire will manifest. You've already put in the effort, you've visualized your goal, you've felt the emotions as if it's already yours, and you've connected with that feeling of gratitude. Now it's time to allow the universe to do its part. Think of it like placing an order at a restaurant. Once you've told the server what you want, you don't keep asking if your food is ready, you trust that it's being prepared, and you relax, knowing it will arrive when it's ready. The same goes for your manifestations. You've put in your order with the universe, and now you need to trust that it's on its way. When you let go, you're not obsessing over whether your desire will come true or constantly checking to see if it's happening. You're not watching the clock or worrying about the timeline. Instead, you're living your life with confidence, knowing that what you want is on its way. This doesn't mean you stop caring, it means you stop worrying. There's a big difference between the two. Obsessing over the outcome can create a sense of anxiety or desperation, which sends out a signal of lack. This energy of lack can actually push your desire further away because it's the opposite of the energy you felt when you were in that state of gratitude. Remember, the universe responds to the energy you emit. If you're constantly worried or doubting, you're telling the universe that you don't truly believe your desire will come to you. Letting go is about having faith and confidence that everything is working out as it should. By letting go, you open yourself up to receive in the best possible way. You allow the universe to bring your desire to you in its own perfect timing. Sometimes, things may happen in ways you didn't expect or on a timeline that's different from what you imagined. But when you let go, you're allowing for the possibility that the universe knows what's best for you and will deliver your desire in the way that's most beneficial for you. Another important aspect of letting go is that it frees you to enjoy the present moment. When you're not fixated on the outcome, you can focus on living your life fully right now. You can appreciate the journey and find joy in the process. This positive, relaxed state of being actually attracts more of what you want into your life. This is where faith comes in. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. When you let go and trust the process, you're demonstrating faith in the power of the quantum field to bring your intention into reality. The final step in this process is to be open to taking inspired action. After completing the 5-minute exercise, it's important to continue your day with an open mind and heart. This means being ready and willing to notice any feelings, thoughts, or urges that may come to you. These subtle signals are often the universe's way of nudging you toward the path that will lead to your desired outcome. Inspired action is not the same as forcing things to happen. It's not about trying to control every detail or pushing hard to make things go your way. Instead, it's about allowing yourself to move in the direction that feels right and natural. When you've spent time focusing on your intentions and raising your energy, you've set a powerful force in motion. Now it's time to trust that force and let it guide you. For example, after doing the exercise, you might suddenly think of someone you haven't talked to in a while. You might feel a strong urge to call them, even if there's no obvious reason to do so. Or you might feel drawn to visit a certain place or try something new, something you wouldn't normally consider. These impulses might seem random or unimportant at first, but they are often the universe's way of leading you toward your goal. It's important to pay attention to these feelings and to act on them. Even if you don't fully understand why you're feeling a certain way, trust that there's a reason behind it. These little nudges are like breadcrumbs that lead you to your desired outcome. They are signs that you're on the right path, moving closer to what you want. When you follow these inspired impulses, you'll often find that things start to fall into place more easily. You might notice that events and circumstances begin to align in ways that support your goals. This is because you're now working with the flow of the universe rather than against it. You're moving in harmony with the energy you've created, and this makes the process of manifestation smoother and more effective. Taking inspired action also helps to keep you in a positive and proactive mindset. Instead of sitting back and waiting for your desires to magically appear, you're actively participating in the creation of your reality. This doesn't mean you have to work hard or struggle. It simply means you're staying alert and responsive to the opportunities that come your way. One of the key differences between inspired action and forced action is how it feels. Inspired action feels good, even exciting. It feels like you're being pulled towards something that's meant for you. There's a sense of ease and flow, and things seem to happen almost effortlessly. On the other hand, forced action often feels like a struggle. It feels like you're pushing against a wall, trying to make something happen that just isn't ready yet. By being open to inspired action, you allow the universe to guide you in ways that are often unexpected but always beneficial. You might find yourself in the right place at the right time, meeting the right people, or receiving exactly what you need when you need it. These are the moments when you realize that the universe truly has your back and is working with you to bring your desires to life. And here's the beautiful part. When you're in this elevated state, you're more likely to notice synchronicities, those meaningful coincidences that show you're on the right path. Maybe you'll see a sign, hear a song, or have a chance encounter that confirms your manifestation is on its way. Now, let's talk about why this works. This technique is effective because it aligns you with the energy of what you want to create. Most people spend their days in a state of survival, reacting to their environment and letting external circumstances dictate how they feel. But when you take just 5 minutes to shift your state of being, you're no longer at the mercy of your environment. Instead, you become the creator of your reality. By centering yourself, setting a clear intention, elevating your emotional state, and then letting go, You're engaging with the quantum field in a very intentional way. You're broadcasting a new electromagnetic signature that is coherent and powerful, and the universe responds to that. The universe doesn't respond to what you want, it responds to who you are being. If you're being someone who is already grateful, already joyful, already living in the energy of your desired outcome, then that outcome has no choice but to manifest in your reality. So give this a try. Take 5 minutes out of your day, follow these steps, and watch what happens. Whether it's in the form of a sign, an opportunity, or a solution, something will shift within 24 hours. And when it does, you'll know that you have the power to create your reality, not by chance, but by design. You have the tools, you have the knowledge, and now you have the technique. The next step is to practice it consistently. Hormonal, genetic death of the old self. People who say to me, I'm in the river of change, I'm in the unknown, I'm in this void, I can't predict my future. I always say the same thing to them. The best way to predict your future is to create it. Not from the known, but from the unknown. What thoughts do you want to fire and wire in your brain? You can't wait for your wealth to feel abundance. You can't wait for your success to feel empowered. You can't wait for the mystical moment to feel awe. You can't wait for your new relationship to feel love or your new job to feel gratitude. It's the old model of reality, of cause and effect, waiting for something outside of you to change how you feel inside of you. When you feel differently inside of you, you pay attention to whoever or whatever caused that. And that event in and of itself is called a memory. To wait for our environment to give us relief. The quantum model of reality is about causing and effect, which means when you feel whole, you begin to heal. When you feel empowered, you're going to be successful. When you're worthy enough, you'll feel abundant. When you are in love with life and in love with yourself, you will find an equal, or it will find you. And when you are in awe of the moment, the mystical is going to bless you in a way that you never anticipated. And when you are in a state of gratitude, your job is on the way. It's causing an effect. And by the way, what is the emotional signature of gratitude? Don't you give thanks when you get something or you receive something? So then, what if you were to begin to give thanks or feel thanks before it manifested? Would your body, as the unconscious mind, believe it's in the future experience in the present moment? Because gratitude is the ultimate state of receivership. And so we don't pray in our work to have our prayers answered. We get up as if our prayers are already answered. It is that state of mind and body that I know that requires a clear intention and an elevated emotion. And the clear intention is an act of the mind and the brain, and an elevated emotion is when you open your heart. When you combine those two elements, you just moved from living in your past to living in your future. So then, here's the question. Can you believe in a future that you can't see or experience with your senses yet, but you've thought about enough times in your mind that your brain is literally changed to look like the experience has already occurred? Can you fall in love with a future potential that already exists in the quantum field? And how many potentials exist in the quantum field? Infinite potentials in the quantum field. Can you select a new potential in the quantum field and emotionally embrace that future reality before it's made manifest to such degree that your body, as the unconscious mind, is believing it's living in that future reality in the present moment, and you're signaling new genes and new ways? If there's physical evidence in your brain and body to look like the experience has already happened, there's evidence there physically, by thought alone. Relax, because the experience is going to find you. There's an intelligence that's giving you life right now. It's keeping your heart beating and digesting your food and organizing trillions of functions in every single cell of your body. It's organizing mutations in your DNA. There's some invisible force that's giving you life, but that same intelligence that's keeping your heart beating and digesting your food is the same intelligence that's creating supernovas in distant galaxies and causing flowers to bloom. It's both personal and universal. It's within you, and it's all around you, and you can't see it, and you can't smell it, and you can't taste it, and you can't feel it, but it is the giver of life, and it is a consciousness, and consciousness is awareness, and awareness is paying attention, and it is the observer observing you into life. And you know, when I tell our advanced students, either you're going to be defined by a vision of the future or the memories of the past. And then people say, why are you so bitter? Why are you so frustrated? Why are you suffering so much? And your brain, in that emotion, you're in the emotion, which means you're in the chemical residue of the past, is going to call up the event because you're emotionally connected to it. And you're going to say, I'm this way because of that past experience. So then imagine what I do with people. We have people that have been abused. We have people that have been traumatized, that have been assaulted. We have people that have had very, very difficult pasts. And have you ever heard me say to revisit the event? Have you ever heard me say that? Never do we need to revisit the event, because once you do, you open the box. But what we want to do is overcome the emotion, because that's just what's lasting from the event. So you sit a person down, and the moment you sit them down, what do you think the body is going to do? It's going to look for something to recreate that emotion, because that's the person's identity. Are you with me still? So if I inspire the person to sit there, and they're sitting there, and all of a sudden they're noticing that they're hot and they're irritated and their stomach is twisting, and all of a sudden it's a group of sensations, a group of feelings that they have called all along frustration. But the different sensations, the moment you name it, it becomes an emotion. But what it is just bodily sensations. It's energy that's stuck in the body. So the body is looking to go back to the past. It's believing it's in the past. Are you with me still? So if the person becomes aware that their body is doing that, and like training an animal, allow the body to feel that emotion and then settle it down into the present moment. When you settle it down into the present moment, the body starts to trust the present moment and move out of the past. And there's a release of energy. Then the body goes, wait a second, what's going to happen in the next moment? And it starts doing that. And it starts to try anticipate the future. And you settle the body back down into the present moment. And every time you do that, you're telling the body it's no longer the mind, that you're the mind, and your will is getting greater than the program. And all of a sudden, you start to lower the volume to that emotion. And when you begin to break the addiction to that emotion, the side effect of breaking that addiction is called joy. It's called freedom. All of a sudden, the body's saying, I don't want to be tormented anymore. Now, does that mean you shouldn't grieve over things that you lose? Grieving is a biological process. It's neural pruning. It's a death of circuitry. It's a death of emotions. It's the absence of void of something in your life. And that's important. In grief, sooner or later, you've got to come to a greater understanding about death, a greater understanding about loss, a greater understanding so that you can adapt to those conditions. Every time I sit with someone and they start complaining about their life, and I let them go for a few minutes, and then I go, oh, you know what I say to them? You only complain about your life when it's not working. And the emotion that you're feeling right now is keeping you connected to the past. You never do this when your life is working. And so I don't have a problem with moving through the stages of emotions. But I also know that what a person really wants more than anything else is to be free. People want to be free. And I have witnessed transformation. It was so alive in their mind that they began to live as if that future reality was happening in the present moment. So here's my question. Can you believe in a future that you can't see or experience with your senses yet, but you've thought about enough times in your mind that your brain is literally changed to look like the event has already occurred? The latest research in neuroscience says you can change your brain from living in the past to living in the future. And can you fall in love with that vision to such a degree that you come out of your resting state and change guilt or suffering into inspiration and joy and gratitude? To such a degree that your body, as the unconscious mind, does not know the difference between that external event and what you're creating internally. so that your body believes it's living in that future, in the present moment, and you begin to signal new genes in new ways to change your body to look like the event has already occurred. The latest research in epigenetics says you can change your body by thought alone. Now reason this with me. If there's physical evidence in your brain and body to look like the event has already occurred, your brain and body are no longer living in the past, they're living in the future, and you will walk right into your vision, something new you wanted to experience. And the moment you started thinking about this experience, the moment you started contemplating this potential reality, you turned on a part of your brain called the frontal lobe, the crowning achievement of the human being. It's 40% of your entire brain. It is the creative center, and it has connections to all other parts of the brain. And the moment you said, what would it be like to be a leader? What would it be like to be successful? What would it be like to have this vision come true? The moment you asked that open-ended question, you turned on this part of the brain, because the rest of the brain is just a bunch of automatic programs. And now the frontal lobe, the creative center, wakes up, and it has connections to the entire brain. It's the CEO, it's the boss, it's the symphony leader of the brain. And the moment you get creative, the frontal lobe begins to select different networks of neurons that are stored in your brain from things you've learned or experienced. And as you begin to think a what-if question, it begins to select these different networks and begins to seamlessly piece them together, and making your brain fire in new sequences and in new patterns and new combinations. And whenever you make your brain work differently, you're changing your mind, because mind is the brain in action. Mind is the brain at work. And the moment those neurons fire in tandem, you get a picture in your mind, a hologram, a vision. For those people who are passionate, that thought that they're thinking begins to create an elevated emotion. They become inspired, they feel enthusiastic, they become passionate. They started to open their hearts. And all of a sudden, they're combining a clear intention with an elevated emotion. And it's the combination of a clear intention and an elevated emotion in our research over and over again that proves then the person now is changing fundamentally, changing biologically, changing internally. And their brain and body are moving from living in the past into living in the future. When you do that, when you had that moment, you came out of your resting state, and then you started to write down all the things you were going to do to get to that vision, all the choices you were going to make, all of the experiences or goals you wanted to achieve, and all of the emotions and the joy you would feel. And when you were doing that, you were setting your sights towards that destiny. And then you did something really brilliant. You wrote down the choices you weren't going to make. You became aware of the behaviors you weren't going to demonstrate. You began to review certain experiences you wanted to stay away from, and then you looked at the emotions that would bring you to a lower level, and you began to separate the old self from the new self. And when you begin to do that and you're observing the old self, it means you're no longer the program. Now you're the consciousness observing the program, and that's when you begin to objectify your subjective self. And so the moment you stop making the same choices that you always make, get ready, because it's going to be uncomfortable. And that's the moment you're heading towards the new self. Do you think that you can change the circuits in your brain by thinking about it? So I did this experiment a little ways back. It took these people who never played the piano before, and they separated them into 4 categories. And they said, listen, we're going to scan your brains before you learn this exercise, and then we're going to scan your brain after. And all you have to do is show up for 2 hours a day and practice for 2 weeks, okay? And just follow the instructions. And we're going to hook your brain up to these sophisticated scans, and we're going to see what happens before and after. So they got with these people, and they said, okay, first group, here's the scales, and here's the chords. They're one-handed exercises. Practice them over and over again. Keep playing them. So they played every single day, 2 hours a day for 2 weeks. They scanned their brains before, they scanned their brains after. After 2 weeks, guess what happened? whole new set of circuits lit up in their brain that never lit up before. That makes sense. You learn something new. Learning is making new connections. Repeating it over and over again is sustaining or maintaining those connections, and that's called memory. So they memorized what they were doing by physically practicing or personalizing what they learned. Make sense? Yes. Standard. Simple. It took the second group of people, and they said, listen, we want you to play 2 hours a day for 2 weeks. We're going to scan your brain before and after. You know what we're going to do? We're not going to tell you how to play anything. You just come and do whatever you want. Play whatever you want. So at the end of 2 weeks, guess what happened to them? Nothing. You know why? Because they couldn't remember what they had learned the day before. And they couldn't remember what they played the day before, and they had no structure. They got no instruction and no knowledge to be able to apply it to make some steady circuits. It took the third group of people, and they said, listen, don't even show up. Don't even create your day. Same thing, nothing happens. The last group of people, they said, listen, we want you to come 2 hours a day for 2 weeks. We're going to show you these one-handed exercises, but instead of you physically playing the piano, we want you to mentally rehearse over and over again those exercises. We know you're going to get tired, so we'll nudge you and we'll keep you awake. But you practice for 2 hours a day and you keep repeating those. The end of 2 weeks, they rescanned their brain, and guess what happened? Same area of the brain lit up as if they were actually playing the scales. Now you know what that means? They grew new circuits in their brain just by thinking about it, just by thinking, just by rehearsing. Now every time we learn something new, we make new circuits in the brain. If you learn anything new, learning is making a new connection in the brain. New neurological connection. Memory is maintaining or sustaining those connections, keeping them alive. And the only way that we maintain and sustain connections in the brain is by repetition. Repetition allows the neurons to develop a long-term relationship. So these people every single day made it the most important thing. They gave up their social engagements. They gave up television. They said, I'm going to rehearse. I'm going to mentally rehearse the greatest ideal of myself every single day. And as long as I keep doing it every day, what's going to happen to those circuits? They're going to light up and become the more sustainable circuits to act as a platform of who they will become in the future. During this process of rehearsal, while they were sitting down rehearsing who they were going to be, just like the piano players rehearsing over and over again, they had long moments where they lost track of time and space. In other words, they became so involved with what they were doing that when they opened their eyes or they lifted up their eye masks or when they turned the lights on in the room, it was 2 hours later, and it only seemed like 5 minutes. They were so involved with what they were doing that they lost the feedback of the body, they lost the feedback from the environment, and they lost track of time.